Does Lewis Hamilton complain too much? Drivers, team bosses, and even Hamilton himself seem to think so. During the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, the 7-time world champion got his hopes up after nabbing pole position in qualifying, only to be outdone by his rivals in the actual race. Let's take a look at what he and others had to say about his weekend, and you tell me if he does too much complaining. Stay tuned. Lando Norris delivered a reality check to Lewis Hamilton after the Mercedes driver once again expressed dissatisfaction with his car not being the best on the grid. Despite securing pole position in the Hungarian Grand Prix, Hamilton referred to the car as terrible, which surprised many given his strong qualifying performance. Norris, in response, reminded Hamilton that he should consider himself lucky to be driving a competitive car that got him pole position. Norris was pleasantly surprised by McLaren's performance during the Hungarian Grand Prix. He expressed astonishment at the team's pace and how it allowed him to achieve a podium finish. Norris admitted that he had not expected to secure a podium position, let alone finish in second place for the second time. Lewis Hamilton offered high praise for McLaren's remarkable improvement in recent weeks. The 7-time champ commended his former team for the exceptional work they have put in throughout the year. Hamilton even went as far as to say that McLaren's current pace is faster than Mercedes, acknowledging their impressive performance on the track. But Lando Norris, while appreciating the praise from Hamilton, expressed his confusion over the claim. Norris found it hard to understand why Hamilton saw McLaren as quicker than Mercedes, given that Mercedes has been a dominant force in Formula One in recent years. During the post-race press conference at the Hungarian Grand Prix, Lando Norris started by expressing his surprise and delight at finishing in second place. He then went on to say, "Mercedes were on pole here last year, and their car has been pretty good. I know Lewis complains a lot about how amazing our car is and how bad theirs is, but they don't have a bad car, and they haven't all season." During the post-race press conference, as Lando Norris explained his surprise at McLaren finishing ahead of Mercedes, Max Verstappen chimed in and seemed to agree with the sentiment. Norris and Verstappen shared a laugh over the situation. Norris then added that while McLaren has shown similar pace to Mercedes, they have simply done a better job in capitalizing on their performance. Oscar Piastri finished the race in 5th place, showcasing McLaren's overall strong performance throughout the weekend. The team's consistent and impressive results underline the progress they have made and their ability to challenge the top teams in Formula One. But what exactly was the source of Hamilton's complaints? It may have something to do with how his weekend went from hopeful to hopeless. To everyone's surprise, Lewis Hamilton took pole position in the Hungarian GP, but dropped to 4th at the start as Verstappen and the McLarens overtook him. Because of this, tensions arose between Hamilton and Toto Wolff due to differing views on the race. Speaking about his race, Hamilton told Sky Sports, "The balance of the car was pretty awful on that first stint. A lot of understeer to snap oversteer, through corner balance, and I just couldn't keep up with them. So then, bit by bit as we got through the next couple of stints, the car started to become more drivable. The last stint was much better. If we had the pace we had at the end, we would have been a bit better through the day. We have a lot of work to do. We're a long way off beating Red Bull in a race, and obviously, now we're behind the McLarens. We've just got to keep pushing." Wolff, on the other hand, thought that Mercedes emerged as the primary challengers to Red Bull in the Hungarian GP, as their car displayed impressive pace when running on lower fuel. Speaking to Ted Kravitz, the Mercedes boss said, "I think we had the second quickest car today. If you look at the lap time profile, also where George came from, but we just didn't monetize on it. But having said that, you see where Verstappen is doing his laps, tranquil, and that needs to be the target. And that's far off at the moment. The start certainly played a role, but that can happen. It was maybe also we brought the tires in very carefully, maybe too careful, and you can see the lap time difference towards the end. I think we reeled in maybe 15 seconds, something around that. We were missing at the end 1.9 seconds to Perez and just 4 seconds to Lando, or less, and I think we had that." Lewis Hamilton expressed his strong dissatisfaction with the Hungarian Grand Prix, admitting that he hated every single minute of the race. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen secured his 7th consecutive victory and moved closer to clinching his 3rd Drivers' Championship title. Hamilton's frustrations were evident as the race did not go as he had hoped, allowing his rival to extend his lead in the championship. He said, I fell back. I hit the target that I was supposed to go to, but just had wheel spin. Then I was under attack all the way to turn 2. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I didn't have the pace to hold on to those guys anyway. Honestly, there wasn't a lap that I enjoyed driving the car today, because the car didn't feel good today at all. For some reason, we just generally lacked pace. It did get better towards the end, but still, it was pretty tough. I knew I wouldn't be able to catch Sergio, or at least a Red Bull, because they're obviously so quick. You live and you learn. Yesterday was a good day, and we'll take the positives, but we're a long shot away from winning at the moment. Lewis Hamilton has been persistently urging Mercedes to adopt a similar F1 development direction as Red Bull, focusing on the floor area, so much so that he thinks that he's starting to sound like a broken record in his request to the team. After the Hungarian Grand Prix, Hamilton shared with Sky Sports that he has emphasized the importance of following Red Bull's lead in this regard to enhance the team's performance, saying, "We generally have a bigger wing than some of the others, like the Red Bulls for example, but they seem to have more downforce from their floor. We have a lot of work to do. I am like a broken record. I've just got to keep telling the guys, we need to go in that direction. I would like to see that either with this year's car or next year." And we've got more news for you regarding Lewis Hamilton's Red Bull smear campaign. Christian Horner, in response to Sir Lewis's comments about Red Bull's budget cap penalty being a slap on the wrist, has finally fired back. Verstappen's team principal dismissed Hamilton's criticism as nothing more than sour grapes from a competitor who is not currently achieving the results he desires. While talking to Sky Sports, he said, "Believe me, the hit that we've taken with the lack of wind tunnel time that we have compared to our competitors is a massive compromise. If wind tunnels don't count, then why don't we just get rid of them? It's always easy to throw shade when you're not performing. It's one of the things in Formula 1 that will always continue to happen." Horner also found the energy to rub Red Bull's success in their rival teams' faces, going on to say, "I'm just incredibly proud of the job that our team's doing with the constraints and handicap that we have. To be performing at the level we have this year, to have achieved 11 straight victories, it's been an outstanding achievement." What do you think? Is it the Mercedes car or the Mercedes driver who needs readjusting? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.